Notably Andy versus Ben a while back when Ben chose the wrong one. But we're off in this race right now. Oh, okay. Sure.
Sure, sweetheart, Dr. SS, I'm Nim.
We get the instant map check from JohnRossums. We got Crystal 5 and Hera, regular crystals in both other Light World dungeons. Map checks are a little bit less important in all dungeons because you need to clear everything, but knowing your green pendant and red crystals is pretty useful.
Yep, as we drop down the sewers, we're going to get a sword from the uncles and we'll see what we got next.
You know, it's been ages since I've done an Uncle Assured seed, and I'm kind of thrown off by the fact that he wasn't holding a sword in the tunnel there. $10 arrows from the chest. Both of these two get a drop of $20 off one of the guards they killed. So nothing really relevant right now. The money will help later.
To see how many green guards they kill during this escape sequence, hoping for a bomb drop. You want to kill a few, like Trenter just got one.
Yep, and that was off of one of the knife-wielding guards, not the sword-wielding guys. So that's relevant because, especially in Rando, the drop pools are randomized, and what enemies are in what drop pool is randomized. So there's no guarantee that enemies that would vanilla drop the same stuff will in Rando.
More arrows for our non-existent bulb.
Come on, arrow chest number 3. Top them off right off the bat. So escape with the sword is generally, if you're looking to get a benefit from this, if you know that you know NMG and your opponent doesn't, that makes Uncle Assured Standard a very strong choice. I don't know if John is an NMG runner. I'm not going to say he for sure is, but usually the NMG runners have an edge up with Uncle Assured Standard.
This kind of setting, I think we see all the time from the higher seed, all dungeons standard. Maybe Uncle Assured, I'm not too confident on this part, but we see a lot of old dungeons from the higher seeds this tournament so far.
Yeah, it takes away a little of the edge of the randomization side of things. It puts the emphasis a little bit more on execution. So a lot of people have been trying to push that to their advantage.
So in the chat, NNG means no major glitches. It's the prime category of a link to a past speedrunning.
You know, I actually was just thinking about the all dungeons thing, and there's another good reason to pick all dungeons. If you know your opponent can hover and you cannot, that is a great reason to pick all dungeons, because they cannot get an advantage from that in terms of GT. Sometimes you just gotta think random things while waiting for them to get to the next chest, because at this point it's just execution moving along. John got his bomb drop finally.
Yeah, and it looks clearly that John has a little upper hand here in the escape sequence. He's about a screen and a half ahead of Tantrum right now.
He's had a little bit cleaner movement and a little bit cleaner kills in the room. Notably, the first key guard room, he knocked the guard right down by the door so he could just grab the key after opening the chest. Trenter had to go a little bit out of the way to make it happen. While we head through the sewers here, these two do have a light cone. In the future dark rooms of the seed, they will not until they find Lamp. But for the sake of allowing Lamp to be randomized, the devs have put a free light cone in Escape in Standard. because otherwise Lamp would have to be in the first 3 chests or so.
Yeah, that's not good for randomizing. Oh, Power Glove before the back 3, so that bomb isn't look quite relevant as of right now, but we'll see what they get from that bomb.
Yeah, but at this point it's more of a little bit of a time save if anything, but still something you don't want your opponent to get that you don't. Keyrat even hardly counts the final boss when you have a sword. He's just free, like he should be. Oh, okay. We have Dark World access at 5:50 in before they leave escape.
Well, if only they have a mirror, the routing through Karuko is going to be interesting if they also have a mirror in their possession. But as of right now, I think we're going to see the Karuto checks. Then we'll find out whether either one want to go into Dark World at bring Mail 3 hearts, maybe more when they finish Karuko.
Yeah, it's always a tough question. I feel like the advent of inverted mode has made that a little bit more palatable to people, since, you start in the Dark World with 3 hearts and Great Mail on that. I think it's probably made it a little bit less uncomfortable for people to dive right into the Dark World, but it's still a risk because you have a lot of Sphere 1 stuff left to check.
Yeah, and they just found some form of protection, the fighter shield. Not that great of protection, but it's something.
I mean, it can save you from some pebbles. Well, I gotta say, I feel like the Hylian shield is based off of that, and the Hylian shield saved Link from some death lasers in Nintendo's Direct yesterday a few times. So it might be stronger than it lets on.
Tensor checking number Jack 3, a piece of heart, so we're not doing Aganihm for that, but we're doing Aganihm for the old dungeon goal of the seat.
Yeah, at this point, the only other thing that could force Aganihm is if both Hammer and Flippers were locked on East Dark World, or if Hammers and Pyramid Fairy, which are both pretty low % chances. Oh hey, Trender gets a tier 2 tree, or tier 3 tree pull there, and it gives them 4 bombs, which is a nice little advantage since John is just kind of YOLOing Blind's Hut here.
He has higher chance versus 30 to find a bomb in his chest because the bomb upgrades are replaced by bombs themselves.
It said this seed seems to just love arrows. We also got a book and half magic, which are both pretty nice finds.
Well, the seed also has a lot of arrows now that the arrows are actually replacing the quiver updates. Those updates can now be purchased at Light War Ice Pass or the Great Fairy.
Yep, and when you do purchase those upgrades, you do now get the vanilla behavior of them filling up your quiver or bomb bag, which makes them actually kind of useful occasionally. Oh, now he gets some bombs. May have just dropped my push-to-talk controller, but John's now heading into the back here. He'll go into the back of the well as well. It's a pretty objective time loss over Trenter, not major, but it's not super quick to go back into these 2 locations. Oh, and terrible prizes in both of them.
I mean, even with terrible prices, you have to check them. You don't want to miss a key item here in Tyrico.
Yeah, it's that risk you take in terms of the time loss, but like you said, even for terrible items, you're never going to remember to come back here if there's something important and you don't do it right now. And more money in Chicken Hut, which, you know, is useful. They're at 400 plus already. That's kind of rare this early in a seed.
Yeah, a few more and they can consider fake flipping to Zora after South Shore. Or with that book, as you said, they can take out Desert.
And of course, there's the ever-looming option of just head straight into the Dark World and start clearing Village of Outcasts, because why not? Okay, that's a nice little fun quirk. Mushroom on Library, no clue if boots are going to be required or not.
Well, at least we're going to find a clue about boots, where boots are somewhere. That's another of version 30 feature, the hint tiles, and one of them is guarantee about the good boots.
Yep, when you get that hint that says, a unique item is locked behind a bomb, it could be the boots. Tells you nothing, but it's about the boots.
Well, I did say the hint, I didn't say a useful hint.
Fair point, fair point. Also, both runners choosing not to go right into the Dark World, they're going to head down the South Shore. It's definitely the safer play of the options available. And say at this point, they're mostly looking for things like maybe the Fire Rod so they can go into Skull Woods and full clear it, the Hammer, both for the extra Dark World access and completion of Thieves Town, and maybe the Flip. Well, I was going to say maybe the Flippers, but Mirror is nice too.
Yeah, that gave them a lot of checks on the west part of Dark World, including, well, they already have Blacksmith and they can do that, but it's easier, and a lot of mirror points will not get orphaned.
Shout out to that mirror location, though, right underneath the water after you do the dam, when one of the mirror's best uses is saving you some time on the dam.
Trenter, sorry, go ahead.
I think we were about to say the same thing. Please don't die.
Yep.
Mini Moldorm, surprisingly harsh enemies, and Master Sword right off the bat. So blue sword, blue shirt, and a banana hat in John's case, in the Mini Moldorm cave.
That crab is scary. Trenter on blue mail, I think it's a 2-hit. It does 2 hearts of damage on green mail, but they are on blue right now.
Yep, the hardest hitting enemy in the Light World Overworld is, for some reason, these little crabs that walk back and forth. Go figure.
I mean, the only item locked here in vanilla is required for the last dungeon, so maybe they think it's a good idea this is actually the late game area for whatever reason.
It seems likely, and we are getting some major divergence here. John has made the play in the Dark World, and Trenter is headed to do the fake flippers soon.
And the green pendant is in Thieves Town. Ice and Pod are our other pendant. Swamp is our 6th crystal.
We will be seeing all of them, but you know, they're hoping to get to go through as many of them as possible in Go mode. Trencher using the bomb setup for the fake flipper makes it very free to get the right pixel. Puts him at a half heart, but if you get hit while fake flippering, you die anyway, so it doesn't particularly matter.
Yep. Meanwhile, John is on the dungeon extension of Dark World Overworld, that is Goldwoods, the non-fire rod locked part. So far, he finds a big key and a compass.
Setting up. Oh, okay. Vanilla Fire Rod. Pure vanilla. And now he can clear this dungeon if he decides he wants to face Mothula with 5 hearts and just a Master Sword. Meanwhile, Hobo certainly didn't pay out for Trencher. He's going to be going to sequence break his way into Waterfall of Wishing and then check Zoro, which is in logic because of the gloves.
But he'll need to get to a portal first, like that.
Vanilla Big Key Chest has the map, so there's another item in the back, and John is heading directly toward it. That blue potion is actually wonderful to have, given the setup of this Dark World, knowing that the early Mothula play is very much a thing.
Chang is doing the reasonable play, going straight to Mothula, hoping he doesn't have to do the walk around chest. And with book and mirror in hand, actually you can have a very early pet check after that.
Yeah, the seeds set him up very well for that, and Zoro with the ultimate life lesson, giving a single arrow in return.
Well, it's a unique item, so let's go. That's a valuable pool to be in.
Yeah, it's actually gained a bit of value now that it's the only unique item that you 100% don't want to follow a hint to. And so, now when he sees unique item, he can be a little bit more confident that it's something he actually wants. That was a gorgeous Mothula fight.
Yep. And he got his second item, some blueberries.
I feel like that's an appropriate drop for a moth, I'm not gonna lie. So now Trent entering into the Dark World, we'll see if he is going down toward Village of Outcasts, so his finding of the Fire Rod is going to be delayed an unknown amount of time. Heading into the chess game, and first chest, 100 rupees, second chest, heart container.
Looks like John lagged his pencil check, so we did not actually see what's on there.
The mystery lives on yet another day. Pedestal isn't super crazy in all dungeons because you're doing all the pendants anyway, but the early information can be a nice boon if there is something required there.
So with his slideshow, we can see that John is actually walking out of skulls right now.
Yep, and Trent is making the immediate dive into Thieves Town without even checking Village of Outcasts all the way. We'll see if he goes all the way to the back. If so, he's making a pretty big risk not having the hammer for this.
Well, John looks walking towards the bumper ledge and into the graveyard ledge as well.
And with that early mirror, good to just get both of those things checked early. Although it looks like maybe heading back toward the Village of Outcasts after Bumper Cave.
Yeah, he definitely saw something, but we didn't.
And Trenter is heading straight to the back of Thieves Town. It's definitely a big risk. It is kind of common practice, I would say, to at least clear all of Village of Outcasts before this. But usually people will do a full Dark World Overworld loop before heading in here in hopes of Hammer.
Meanwhile, John got something out of C-shaped. Okay, let's not joke about the PowerPoint now. We'll focus on the Trenter.
Okay, I like that move. You have the small key already, so instead of going to grab Cane of Samaria and Cash requires a big red bomb, so Swamp and Hera are required to get the Cane of Samaria.
That's actually pretty big.
But yeah, I was gonna say, when you have that small key, just going straight across, and then coming back and grabbing the key when you have to flip the switch anyway, it saves you a little bit of time and makes sure you don't bonk on the side of the door at all. So it's a very nice way to move through that room in this type of situation.
Yep.
The attic chest had nothing, so we are heading down to the basement. And unfortunately for Trent, we already do know that there is an item in the big chest here. So if it's important, he's going to have to hope that John makes the same play without the hammer. Of course, the ultimate dream is hammer on blind, forcing you to do hammerless Thieves Town with a progression item in the big chest.
And John enters Thieves Town as well.
Let's see what our dear friend the Maiden has. We're getting a little bit of double vision here. I'm not sure who's who anymore. And it was just more cash. Trenter has actually caught back up to John in terms of rupees temporarily because of that. Now we get the blind fight. It is scripted if you know how to do it. At worst, with Blue Mail and 7 hearts, it's not a bad fight.
Yeah, you can take 7 fireballs with 7 hearts, and Blue Mail helps against the head smash from the blind, but you can do it scripted. It's best to do it that way. No risk at all.
Yep, kind of said screw the script at the end there, and gets a tempered sword out of it, which is nice, as well as a green pendant. I wonder if that tempered sword will encourage him to go up to Skull Woods, because Mothula became a whole lot easier with that. Of course, I doubt he would bet on the Fire Rod in Skull Woods. It was another blue potion in the C-shaped house.
So that's why John mirrored here, because check the sick key right after this chest.
Yeah, that certainly makes sense. Now checking the Bumble Hut, going to find another $20. So the seed kind of dried up a little bit after that initial spurt of activity, didn't it?
Yeah, but there's still the whole south loop.
Yeah, we'll get stuff eventually. It's just kind of, I'd say, a somewhat common trend of this type of seed that opens up super early to then just be going through for like 15-20 minutes getting nothing.
Dark World isn't exactly an item dense world, so It takes some time to walk from item to item, and with that much open, you have no idea which will be dead end and which will be your next progression.
I get the digging game. It'll be at most 30 digs to get the item. It is going to be the same number of digs for both runners. And it's a vanilla piece of heart. Now for the fun of walking it back to the No, not walking back to the blacksmith. I gotta say, I disagree with that. I disagree with that choice.
Maybe he wants to save and quick with the purple chest. But that will orphan the Bumble's tablet, wouldn't that?
Yep, as well as would require skipping Hype Cave since he doesn't have Hammer yet. We get blue sword and blue shirt right after each other, and red sword and red shirt right after each other. Seems fair.
So are we getting a gold clothes update grade after Butter Sword?
Maybe. That'd be an interesting development. Secret items hidden in Rando that nobody's ever seen before. Okay, Hype Cave, do your thing. Speed, 2 heart containers, and money. Yeah, it's about what I expect from Hype Cave.
Yeah. Although Osan gave the Quake Medallion, not exactly the most useful weapon, but it might be required to open the Mire or Turtle Rock.
Yeah, but it does have some uses. For example, the penguins in Turtle Rock really hate it. So we are going to check Bombo's tablet. We'll see what we got going on over here. What treasure of the ancestors will fall from the sky when the book is read. They were pretty cheap people. 10 arrows is about what you can expect.
Meanwhile, John just finished Steve's hand holding a green pendant in hand, and looks like it's going south as well. We'll see if he takes the blacksmith with him.
Yep, I would fully expect it. We do get a heart piece in Agina's cave. With the mirror on hand, the only thing that avoiding the blacksmith does is not let you orphan the hammer pegs, which might be what Trencher was going for, but just going back for them if it's important is such a long walk.
Maybe he'll do that after Skullwoods. He still has to take that portal at least once for that dungeon.
Very true, and John is going back for the blacksmith, so he'll be getting whatever the blacksmith has as well as whatever the purple chest has on the same loop that Trenter just is wrapping up. Desert, of course, coming with one all-important question. Do we require the boots to complete this seed?
Well, this chest will answer it. It's big key. We might not. We might logically, but we sure wouldn't in players' hands.
Okay, well, we find out that it is boots locked, but we also find out the bow is in desert, which is kind of a funny place for that hint, and also potentially useful, actually.
Looks like it's not only the bow that's in here in desert, but that item is going to be bow is either on Lemos or on right side. Both consider boost lock by logic.
So if you're Trenter, you know the bow is in here. Do you go to Land Mola, or you can't go to Land Molas because you don't have a fire source? Do you go steal the key and do right side hoping for bow?
Yep.
That is definitely what he's doing. It's going to be a more interesting question for John, who does have a fire source and could go straight to Landmo. He's going to have a 2-to-1 choice to make. Now we're going to have to watch as this long walk to the right side of the dungeon goes on. I'm going to feel so bad if this is just a map and compass over here. I really am.
Well, it isn't. He got a bow. He's out of here. That's both item here in desert. Not beatable, but full of value.
Yeah, that was a glorious desert palace with the bow and the flute there.
With bow in hand, Trender is going straight to eastern and finish that dungeon. We know since bow is technically boot slot, we won't find bow on actually only almost line. It can be the other part of the eastern dungeon palace and Sahasrara.
Yep, going over here before activating the flute gets his green pendant item of 3 bombs. Harpies and 20 more arrows. This seed really loves arrows. I believe at this point they've gotten more arrows than you could even hold with max capacity.
Chat brings on a good point. Runner can technically do Aganihm because it's going to be required anyways, and do Pod and Eastern together, looking for the hammer in Pod.
Yeah, it could be an interesting way to route. It would save you some time. The downside for him, of course, is in addition to not having the lamp, he doesn't have that fire rod yet, so he couldn't even use the torches in Aga Tower to make Dark Aganihm a little bit easier. Now, the first chest over here, or the second chest over here, you always wish you have hookshot for this chest, since it seems like it was designed for hookshot. Gets a map, and John is approaching his choice that could prove to be very important.
Meanwhile, Trender is strolling through Eastern Pass, going to do the Pod trick, spawning only 2 of the 4 stealthos and kill them on their spawn.
And getting butter already as a reward for those Stalfos. A piece of heart requires the hammer. Yay! So once they're done here, I'm trying to think. At this point, everything else that Trencher gets in here is out of logic due to lack of lamp. So where does he head to next? Does he make that Skull Woods play, or does he head elsewhere?
Interesting question. I think with Flute and Smith, I will check the Meyer medallion first.
That seems like a pretty solid option. Trying to damage boost through the anti-fairs here, had a little bit of trouble, but has enough health to just tank it, and gets 3 bombs as a reward.
Meanwhile, Johnny is actually approaching the choice point. Will he do Limos or will he steal the key?
Yep, and this could be a surprisingly impactful choice, depending on how the rest of the items in the seat are laid out. He is moving onwards just based on the position of that Link sprite there.
Yeah, bow is only meaningful as it lead to pod. So maybe not that impactful yet, but we'll see where it will definitely depend on where the hammer is.
Yeah, that and where the bow is. If the bow is locked, and where the boots are, because if they're locked behind Eastern or Pod, then that makes life a lot harder on John since he'll have to double dip whichever they were locked behind. We get our crystal from Eastern Palace. That is the first crystal for Trenter, his second of 10 dungeons complete. Now the expected...
Go ahead. Meanwhile, with Temper Sword in John's possession from Bind, Lemons just go down very easily. He got his second crystal and his third dungeon down.
Yep, he's getting bosses down quite quickly. The other catch on John's side, just due to the technical difficulty, we don't know if he checked that hint tile in Desert, so it's possible that he doesn't know the bow is over there and won't make a beeline for it when he gets the boots.
And due to the slideshow nature of his stream, looking at timer, the trender is actually 4 minutes ahead on the timer, so it's not really representative where John is right now. He might actually already activate his flute.
Yeah, he headed straight for Kakariko instead of doing anything else beforehand. So Trenter calls the duck and goes to Death Mountain. Death Mountain has an item on Spectacle Rock, an item in Spectacle Rock, and potentially 2 items in Hera. Now, one difference here is without the Fire Rod, still having not made the Skull Woods dip, if there's a big key or an item locked in the basement of Hera, Trenter can't get to it.
Yeah, and the most juicy part of Death Mountain, that's the east side, is not open to them before the hammer or the hook shot. So maybe we'll find those up here.
Yep, and John, meanwhile, making the play to the Meyer area. 3 very quick item checks. I'm curious if Trencher is part of the group that has started to just immediately dive for the Spectacle Rock item without checking it first. And it appears not. It's a shovel, so he's gonna go grab it anyway, because Lord only knows if that's required.
We actually see what John got for the item. One of the items for one is a piece of heart, but the other item is still unknown.
What a useful hint tile. A piece of heart is in Eastern Palace. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, Trevor was way too far right for that bomb jump initially. And then trying to push down and get pushed over, which still wouldn't have put the perfect position. Ended up pushing too hard down and falling to the ground.
So whatever medallion Meyer is, John is not going in. And he's also on Death Mountain going for the old man in the dark.
Yep, and assuming he's been reading hints, even if Meyer was Quake, you know that the cane is locked behind Hera, which you can clear right now, and Swamp, which is still a little ways off. So you probably would want to delay it anyway in hopes of being able to do those two.
Trender now receiving another blessing from the sky, and it is...
You know, I'm not gonna lie, if 20 bucks fell down to me from the sky in real life, I'd be pretty stoked about that.
Yeah, me too, actually. Well, I'm not going to be stoked when I'm stuck in traffic like that.
Yeah, that part's a lot less exciting. Okay, small key in the basement. If the next chest is not the big key, Trenter is stuck, John will be able to continue onward. Okay, there is another bit of divergence.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I just meant there, another bit of divergence that Trenter will not be able to continue. John certainly will.
Yeah. I think Trender should be doing Meyer or Skullwoods next. He is quickly running short of options. He's turning that shuffle first.
Yeah, you might as well. There's never really a convenient time to check Shuffle if you've already done Stumpy. And he's rewarded with a heart container that just happens to bounce back to his feet. Trencher heading back to Dark World. Hopefully gonna go to Skull Woods. We know that's where an important item is. But maybe going to try to do the Blacksmith and Purple Chest now that he has Flute.
Maybe do the North Loop while he's at it. Looks like he's going to Skullwoods first. He'll be rewarded for this.
Yep, it certainly seems like getting that Fire Rod is important, because you don't even have access into... I didn't think of this earlier, but you don't even have access into Meyer beyond the first room without Hookshot or Boots. So this is really the only major thing he's got left.
We didn't see what John got from that basement, but we know it's a Hera big key.
Now headed upstairs to go meet everyone's best friend and most favoritist boss, Moldor. Meanwhile, Trenter is going to get his fire rod in the next chest he opens and probably be pretty annoyed by its position.
Yeah, vanilla positions are usually the one of the worst locations to find an item. Like, boy Eastern, who gambles that, right?
As someone who routinely starts by going to Eastern Palace, I'd raise my hand. So we got.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, go ahead.
No, fair enough, because Gomo's Eastern isn't exactly that much faster, so.
Very true. And we do get Trenter heading to the back of Skullwoods, going to get one more item off of Mothula, 3 bombs, nothing major. And we'll probably find out what's on the pedestal at that point.
John is now fighting Modern with his Timber Sword. A slash and spin should do the trick, but looks like he just got bumped by Modern once there. Oh, he takes him down. Got a big 20 out of that.
And 3rd crystal for John, and the big 20 isn't much. It means that there was one other item in Hera. And I'm curious what it was, because I feel like at this point, if it wasn't anything, there's not a whole lot of options left, because Aganim's not in logic without a lamp.
Hopefully we'll get a slide on his pause menu so we can check that.
Trenter burning all those mummies as much as he can. Now going to the Butter Sword Mothula, which is the exact same as Tempered Sword Mothula. Moth is actually immune to the level 4 sword, so the devs of Rando made the level 4 sword the level 3 sword in the Mothula room.
Yeah, it's pretty convenient. They can do this kind of thing by room.
Yeah, it certainly helps. For those who don't know the reasoning, Mothula is immune to the spikes, which deal the same damage class as the level 4 sword. So if Mothula is hit by the level 4 sword, it thinks it's getting hit by spikes and says, no, this is unimportant.
Not as good as a fight from Trender, but he still got work done on Mothula, getting his 3rd crystal as well. I mean, that's 2nd, sorry.
2nd for him. John is heading back up Death Mountain. I'm not entirely sure of the reason for that at the moment. And here it comes, the pedestal check. Womp womp.
He's going up, so it looks like he found a hammer in Hera.
Yep, hammer must have been the other item in Hera. Yep, there it is on the Y button. We're learning stuff. And Trenter is going to go ahead and take out the Blacksmith and purple chest here, I believe. Taking a look up here to the north first, which makes quite a bit of sense, actually.
So Anthony Terry's question in chat, why do you check pad? Well, because pulling pad actually has a pretty long animation, so checking it so you don't have to do it is faster.
Yep, and there's the additional boon, even in all dungeon seeds, of, let's say you're looking for the ice rod. It's the last thing you need to clear the seed. If you know that ice rod's on pedestal, you get to go mode your remaining pendant dungeons and go pull it. You can pretty much, if you know something required is there, have your go mode an item earlier, potentially. Here comes Graveyard Ledge, arguably the worst location in this game, for silver arrows.
John pulling boots on the, and it shows the correct frame that he got it.
Now, if you read the hint in Desert, he'll be almost assuredly going straight to Desert after checking out Dark Death Mountain. Also, knowing that Silver's wearing Graveyard Ledge confirms that he did not check that location when he checked Bumper Cave, since his arrows are still wooden at the top of the screen.
And Trenter claimed his fire rod is going to complete Hera and on his way to East Death Mountain with a hammer as well.
Yep, so after 50 plus minutes, John's definitely got an advantage. We can't see the specifics, but his timer is lower, he has more dungeons complete, and he has more items gained, so pretty unequivocally he is got the advantage right now. Also, shoutouts to using the complete wrong word from what I actually meant to use there. And T-Rock requires the Quake Medallion, so he's going to go ahead and open that up while he's up here. Trenter having a heck of a time trying to open up these pegs for a coffee break. Kind of giving up on it at this point.
He actually goes into the Turtle Rock without King with Maria and goes out.
Yeah, he would have went in there to check that hint tile right at the front. See if it's got anything useful on it. Now going through Super Bunny Cave, the cave named for a glitch that you very rarely ever end up here in a situation where you can activate said glitch. Got a nice little use of a silver arrow there out of Trenter. Hitting that hard hat beetle in the front so you could double spin the other two and knock them all out quick.
John went to Hookshot Cave, take the boots bunk chest. He's going back left, west for likely Spike Cave.
Good old Spike Cave. Spike Cave is worth mentioning is not in logic right now. You need either the cape and a way to extend magic, so they would need just the cape in this case with half magic and bottles already, or the Cane of Burna alone can get you through here. As far as we know, he has neither of those things, so it is a sequence break just for routing convenience.
Hold on, I just see a big 20 pop out on the big chest. So where did John get a hammer actually?
That's a good question. Also, he does have Cane of Brian. Where did he go where he got this stuff?
I mean, he did check the 7 items in Paradox Cave, so he could have got it there.
True, maybe the hammer was the other item in the Meyer shed, actually. Despite the technical difficulties, John's stream has been going enough where we can at least mostly follow what he's doing. And Meyer area is the only place I can think of that he's been that Trencher hasn't. And this just means Trencher is climbing Death Mountain 3 times here, to John only having to do it once. That hurts. And it's Quake for Misery Mire as well, so both of the medallion required dungeons require Quack. There's the hammer. We're gonna get a check of the checkerboard cave, see what's going on over here. So the other single rupee. Well, now we found them both. At least we don't have to deal with those ever again.
Meanwhile, John enters Dark World from the Thief Cell portal again. This time they look likely going the North Loop, Bunkerot, Kingston, and Graveyard Ledge, going to get the silvers and the other 2 unknown items.
Yep, and Trenter is heading up to Pod. He's gonna be going without boots until he gets up to Paradox Cave. We know that much. It's just a matter of how much is he gonna try to do, or how much is he gonna get access to before he goes there. Kiki the Monkey following along, stealing 10 rupees already, gonna take another 100 to open up the door. They have plenty of money in the seed, they really don't need to worry about it. I mean, John's sitting at 1,600. So at this point, what do we still need for Goma? We need to find flippers, we need to find a hookshot, we need to find an ice rod. We know where the Cane of Samaria is. And logically, we need a lamp, and with Aganim's tower required, most people are going to be looking for that lamp.
Yep. We know there's a mushroom on library. John can get that right now. Although without the King of Samaria, he can't do the fake powder glitch, so that's only one item for him to check with that mushroom. And King of Samaria is behind the flippers and hookshot, so not exactly going to be actually doing that glitch this seed, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess if you did hard reset to save the mushroom, it might be worth checking in case the ice rod is there, but King's Tomb with 3 bombs, so that doesn't really mean anything to anyone.
King's gift for the grave robbers, 3 bombs.
John has leapt closer to the future. He is only about a minute behind Trenter's stream now.
And he's into pod as well.
Exploring the dark room now, sans lamp. About to open the big chest over here, and hey! Right after opening it, the frames are back.
And we see powder on his His tracker pause menu, so he got that.
Yep, and we have caught all of his dungeon clears. The pendants and crystals line up with what we know. So powder is really the only thing that we didn't already see from him that he has gotten. He is on his way back to Halmasaur as Trenter heads back in to head to the back of the dungeon. So, Pod is pretty empty, it seems. I'm guessing the powder is probably here. But there doesn't seem to be much of value in this dungeon.
Yeah, probably is either here or on the East Death Mountain. The 8 chest we saw there. Oh, it's here.
And what do you think? If you're John in this situation, where do you head next? What's your next play? Well, let me rephrase this a little bit in that he's gonna do Eastern next, but after he's done with that, since we know progression isn't there.
I think with Flute and he did the Smith pretty early. I would Flute 3 and do the going to Dark Road to the pegs and the matter.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. It's an orphan location that you're never really gonna have a better time to go to. I think we're approaching the point where the Meyer double dip might be required. Either that, or it'll be Catfish or Pyramid Ledge having something important.
Yeah, Catfish is still out there.
And John on to phase 2 of Helmasaur as Trenter is heading back into Pod. John is through 50% of his required dungeons now. Trent will be right alongside him at 50% as well as soon as he finishes this dungeon. It will be interesting. I mean, I got to assume he's going to head back up Death Mountain as much as he doesn't want to go over to Paradox Cave, because he doesn't have much else in the way of good options.
Yeah, and there's tons of items for him there. There's the whole East, that's 7 items plus Spiral, and there's a Dark Side, that's 2 plus the boots he doesn't know he would have, and Spike. That's a lot of items to check.
Yep, the only downside is, in Trent's mind, he, made an extra climb up Death Mountain. He didn't have to by not having the Fire Rod yet. He might try to avoid making that extra trip up there, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure he has any worthwhile options besides that, honestly.
I mean, there is Pyramid and Catfish right around this dungeon, but those are pretty single locations.
Yep, and the downside of coming to the Dark World from a Flute to 5 is that you don't walk in a way where checking Pyramid is easy, and the only time to check Catfish that's decent is while checking Pyramid. Nice, easy Helmasaur kill from Trenter, getting the 2 hits with Butter to kill him, and gets a piece of heart as a reward. See, he's gonna mirror. He's already done Eastern. Pull out the flute, and flute to where? Okay. So we know this is the right play for him. It's gonna put him pretty much on par with John, just a Desert Palace clear behind, essentially.
Yep.
And yeah, I think at that point, you either go for the quick one-off check at hammer pegs like you suggested, or you go for the guaranteed double dip of Meyer.
Yeah, so runners undoing what each other have done, so it's good time to say if you're enjoying what you're seeing, slideshow or not, make sure to follow these runners, JohnRossums and TensorTR. They are putting on a good show, even if the internet is a little iffy.
Yep, and we are going over here. Trenter is going up to the top of T-Rock, much the same as John did, gonna open it up while he's here. It's a little bit simpler to get into Dark World this way. The interesting thing is he's doing this before doing Spiral Cave and Paradox Cave to try to route as efficiently as he can. John through with the Armos Knights gets his 4th crystal. He has 3 more crystals and 1 more pendant to get. And they're all the dungeons that people always want to avoid. Interesting play here would be the Ice Palace sequence break. The hookshot could be hiding in there, and it's a dungeon that is faster in go mode, but might be worth the risk with the 3 hints there.
Also, we also know that King of Smaria is behind hookshot, so with those items, Ice Pass logic is a little. I never got a hint of that logic actually.
Oh, Ice Palace logic is a nightmare no matter what you do. Trenter, no, why didn't you check Paradox Cave before this? You could have had boots. You could have gone fast. This moment of the seat, I wish we could just play the sad trombone for this entire walk.
John is back in the Dark World. Let's see where he goes from here.
If he is making that hammer pegs check as you suggested. Just happily hammer dashing through the pegs. Nice and smooth. And Trent gets his boots and probably feels a little bit of sadness. John makes the correct decision and picks up the blue boomerang, the only remotely worthwhile boomerang.
Yep, makes some good tricks on against tower.
It's also a little bit useful for stunning Gibdos, but when you already have Skull Woods done, that doesn't really matter. Now he is going to retrieve Mushroom from Shelf.
Also, I did not see he check the Bat Cave. Did he just forgot to do that?
I'm not sure, but it looks like he's heading back up this way, so it looks like he's going to check it now. And now Trenter, with the boots, goes, okay, I guess I go into Hookshot Cave and check this one bonk chest. And gets a piece of heart out of it. And the flippers on the magic bat. The bat was the key. Ice Palace now in Logic, as well as a chunk of Swamp Palace. Oh, that's actually a pretty nice hint right there. That might be why John made the play up to Graveyard Ledge when he did.
Yep. That's about the silver arrow on Graveyard Ledge. Trent already had it when he got here, but John didn't.
Then heading over to, well, where is Trenter heading to right now? Oh, Bonk Rocks and King's Tomb.
John looks like he's going straight to Swamp.
I'm saying, I don't need no stinking hookshot to go into Swamp. No, he's not going to Swamp. He's going somewhere else. It's looking like a pyramid and catfish play coming up. Just getting these locations out of the way now before diving into any unfavorable dungeons.
Yep, looks that way.
Poor Trencher ran all the way down to the bottom of Kakariko, then remembered that you have to go to the Dark World to do the hammer pegs.
Looks like whatever John saw on the pyramid is not worth his time, so he's off to the catfish now.
Everyone's favorite grumpy fish. One teaches you a life lesson, the other just steals away all your time. And I'll hand it to Trender, putting off the Blacksmith chain like he did has actually paid off with some convenient routing now for him.
He's stocking up on potions. We did not see what he found from the mushroom, sadly.
Yep, although since there was an item sitting on the floor when he was holding up the potion, I'm trying to remember if that's just because the potion was held up, or if that means he picked it up.
I think due to the sprite position, he's just buying those potions.
I believe you're right, and I feel more confident in that thought now that you have said it as well. Two for two on the pickup of Best Meringue.
John getting his third bottle from the Waterfall of Wishing.
and Trent are gonna turn in the blacksmith, bring him home, say, hey buddy, it was nice walking around with you for a little bit. It's time to go home and make some stuff. He was repaid with the power of love. About to get his flippers as well. He'll flute to 7, turn in the purple chest. And it's a matter of, do you go to ice, do you go to swamp, or do you go to mine? 2 of those 3 you can't clear. 1 if you bomb jump, you can't no matter what. But ice is the probably most heavily potentially logic locked of the 3.
Potentially logic lock, but in Queer's hand it's full clearable, so John is going to ice.
You do get the additional bonus in here of not 1, not 2, but 3 hint tiles that could point you toward maybe the ice rod or the hook shot. It's a valuable dip. And Trent are making the same decision, saying, let's go Ice Palace. A glove is in the sewers. Oh, thanks. Right on time.
Yeah, as if we actually can't get here without those, right?
Yep, gotta have them to get here. Also, they were both in the sewer, pretty much. Maybe not the sewer exactly, but they were both very close to the sewer at least.
And Chad is saying they saw John with hookshot.
Huh, I'm not sure where he would have gotten that. Maybe that was the mushroom item. Or catfish, one of the 2.
I mean, if he had a hookshot, this is a room he pulled out after the bomb jump.
Very true, and yeah, he does. So, having the hookshot, I'm actually surprised he didn't make the Swamp Palace play and just go get that cane of Samaria a little bit earlier.
On the other hand, if he found the ice rod here and Samaria is your Gomo item, just Gomo Swamp. And do Mire and Terror in Gomo as well.
Very true. Although, I mean, let's be honest, the ice rod is probably the last chest on Laser Bridge.
As is tradition.
It's one of the worst traditions of all time, not gonna lie. And it's worth noting that Trender is going to have a little bit more awkward routing through this dungeon without hookshot. You gotta do at least 1 additional bomb jump that is a lot easier than I think people think it to be, but if you don't know the trick to make it completely free, it's actually super, super tricky. And speaking of which, we'll be seeing that bomb jump any moment now, it seems.
Here's a final hint tile before the bomb jump. It's a trap.
It's also the second hint that told us that a nice cup of tea would help. I feel like Christos has intervened in this seed spiritually. Okay, Trenter pulls off that bomb jump the hard way. You know, for when they're watching it back, for anyone watching who doesn't know this, if you face left and do the spin setup just like Trenter did, if you just do that pressed up against the block, then when you place your bomb to your left, you'll just make the bomb jump. You don't have to move to the right after placing it. You don't have to do any shenanigans. Just spin setup straight down, and then place bomb directly to your left, and you get over. Yes, worth noting, also, of course, possible without the spin setup, but you have to be on the lowest safe pixel to make that work, and that makes that a lot easier.
Okay, Trenter is cleaning up ice pads as well. He found 2 items. Nothing worthwhile yet. We still have a third.
We're going to be facing Cold Stare, who is laughably easy with Butter Sword. You just kind of stand in the corner after spin attacking him and slash him a couple times, and he doesn't really put up a fight.
Yeah, with half magic, you don't even need a full magic bar to do the Cold Stare shell as well. You only need half of that.
Now Trenter has to take the long way around to the iced tea room. But, you know, maybe that joke hint was actually, you know, telling them to go to the iced tea room. A cup of tea would help, the iced tea room. It all makes sense. It's a conspiracy, I tell you.
I mean, if that change rolled by Crystal, I feel like the tea is more reference to a hot tea, not an iced tea.
Oh, it absolutely is. I was just trying to form some conspiracy theories.
Fair enough.
We did see that Cold Stare got away from John a little bit. It was spread out. It wasn't all just right in the corner where it is optimally, but handled it no problem. Gets his third pendant. 3 dungeons to go, and he can clear one of them, so I'm pretty sure I know where he's headed next. Now, Trenter is actually too low on magic to do Cold Stare just yet, but the small pots in here will be enough.
And he has not used any of the blue potion he got from the bottom for free, actually.
True, so worst case scenario, he does have that as a fallback. I think that's enough magic. Is it gonna be just a little bit short, maybe? Nope, exactly enough. Use that blue potion. Didn't really need to. Obviously don't need magic when you have Butter Sword. Health was still in pretty decent shape for Red Mail. But use it for safety because dying to Cold Stare is one of the most painful boss deaths you can take.
Yeah, and with only 6 bombs in hand, he doesn't really have a lot of try for that bomb jump as well.
Now Flute to 4, and Trenter will also be heading into Swamp Palace. So these two are kind of in lockstep now. The seed has made itself a lot more linear. But the difference here is that Trenter has not gotten the hook shot yet. Oh wait, never mind. This is the second time I've fallen for that. He is going to do Pyramid, Catfish, Mushroom. So we should be getting his hook shot along this path.
Yep.
Shoutouts to both of these two for making me believe they were about to dip swamp when that wasn't their goal at all. Pyramid Ledge was a vanilla piece of heart. And is Trender going to go ahead and do Aganihm right now?
You're well equipped. Might as well do it, I guess. And opens up the shortcut for the Pyramid Fairy. I guess that's what he's considering.
Yeah, that's a nice plus. It's just Dark Aganim's tower has the potential to go wrong. With the equipment they've got, they can tank a lot. But the main problem is holes, which do 1 damage no matter what. And if things go poorly or extra slow because you don't have a lamp and lamps right on the way later, that can hurt. I guess it does serve as a good litmus test, for lack of a better word, of if you need to bother looking for the lamp or not. He is having a little bit of issue navigating in the dark maze here. A lot of people know how to get to the chest because it's really, really useful in Key Sanity, but getting all the way through is a task. Hits the torch finally, and is able to see where he's going for the rest of this room.
Meanwhile, JohnRossums is onto Argus with his boss sword. It's a hook and slash for each puff. Should be pretty easy fight.
You can also go with the hook and poke strategy, which is a little bit more forgiving than the Tempered Sword version, since if you delay too long, you can just slash your sword without having to dash first.
Trying to find a torch in this dark room as well. I think he's through most of the dark rooms here on Aga Tower.
Yeah, that was the last dark room there, so he's free and clear from here on. You know, did he save enough time on Pyramid Fairy doing that dark to justify doing it dark? That remains to be seen depending on where the lamp ends up.
I mean, for all we know, that lamp can actually be in Turtle Rock. Neither Swamp or Tower of Hera needs that lamp.
Yep, it's one of those items that usually it's said, you know, dark rooms are not required, but useful. Logic never asks for them, but sometimes the lamp logic is so mean, you just end up learning dark rooms because you just don't want to deal with it anymore. Here we come up to the Aganihm fight, where we will figure out how many blue balls will we find today.
It looks like the chat has called on a slide that shows John has a lamp, so he must have found that in Swamp Pass.
A ray lamp. Trencher in our everyone's favorite cutscene boss. Gets his first blue ball. John just picked up his Cane of Samaria from Pyramid Fairy. Two blue balls on phase 1. And all we need to find between these two for no mode is Ice Rod. So naturally, heading to Misery Mire first.
Yeah, when you want to find Ice Rod, you go to Turtle Rod last, because you don't want to climb the Death Mountain again just to fight Trinex.
Yeah, it can be absolutely killer when you set yourself up to that. That is our 4th blue ball. So we got 1 more guaranteed hit, and Aga could do up to 3 more blue balls if Trenter is super unlucky. There's number 5. Okay, 5 blue balls. The wizard is dead. John will get the same RNG when he comes here later. And now Trenter can continue along the path to Catfish and get his hook shot somewhere along the way. And I don't know, can you think of any non-dungeon locations that these two have not checked yet that could be the House of the Ice Rod?
Okay, give me a second. Let's see. Actually, I don't think I can think of anything on top of my head. I think I checked almost all the overworld.
Yeah, I can think of one, and that's Hookshot Cave, but that's right next door to T-Rock. So I think you're right. I think we pretty much cleared the overworld, which means that the Ice Rod has to be in one of these dungeons at this point.
Yeah, Hookshot Cave and Mid Cave might as well be part of Turtle Rock at this point.
John moving through Mire, his second to last crystal dungeon. Second to last dungeon. You'll still have to do Aga Tower and Ganon's Tower to complete the seed once he is able to clear both, but out of the main, progression dungeons, this is his second to last. There's also the possibility, I guess, that the Ice Rod could be in the Thieves' Town big chest. I just remember that one. But it could be there.
Yeah, that was from what, an hour ago?
Probably a little bit more than an hour ago, actually, with how quick Dark World opened up. I have found my dream, though. One location, orphaned by both runners, like 20 minutes in. And it turns out to have everyone's most loved item, the Ice Rod.
Sounds like a great fairy tale or nightmare, whichever you want to put it, which way you want to put it.
I feel like which way you want to put it depends on if you're one of these two playing the seed right now, or all of us watching it.
In the Swamping Towers, Bumbles is in GT, which means the Fire Rod basically required for Ice Pass as well. We do not need Bumbles this seed other than the Gauntlet.
Yeah, pretty much. So here's a thought. You're Trenter. You've had to make a couple extra trips up Death Mountain because you didn't get that Fire Rod early. A couple things just haven't gone your way in terms of how your routing showed up. Do you bet on the Thieves' Town Big Chest before T-Rock as kind of a hope to gain some ground back?
It's a pretty good question. Finding that fire rod in Skull Woods will probably make you feel a little behind already, so I can see why I would want to make that play. So, but at another thought, I would very much doubt I will actually remember that chest existed at this time of the race, being an all certified in, and probably like 5 or 10 minutes behind.
Yeah, that's certainly the tough part, is actually thinking of it. It's a big gamble to go for that over just going to T-Rock, but I can see an argument to be made for going to it before going up there, just to guarantee you don't have to climb the mountain extra time.
And we just called a friend, have a friend on John's menu. He did not find the ice rod in Misery Mire, so it's Turtle Rock, Hookshot Cave, or your dream see some big chest.
There's also one more option. I don't believe we saw John in Left Side Swamp at all, so this could be an important moment here. Of course, Left Side Swamp is one of the worst locations I have to check in the game. It's just very slow. It's only 2 chests. They're not convenient to get to. There's a reason everyone wants to go mode Swamp, and you're watching it right now. Blue Ruby in Hookshot Cave, second chest, and a heart piece in the last one, so Ice Rod not in there. Oh, that hurts. That mispushed
Ouch.
block hurts. It doesn't cost you a whole lot of time, it feels bad when you just have to sit there and stare at, like,
Well, Ice Rod is not on left side, but if Ice Rod is also not in Turtle Rock, John will have 2 places to decide whether he wants to go.
I hope I am never in a race where I have the 2 options he would have at that point. So we are headed to the back of Swamp now. Trencher will get the lamp at one of the chests back here, and nothing else that he cares about.
It looks like we're getting a little more friends from John's stream. I hope I don't jinx it by saying that.
We're about to get the 2 chests down here from Trenter, which was 20 bucks and a compass. Woo. And still no Ice Rod, so it wasn't in the front of T-Rock. Coming up on the Argus fight for Trenter. Again, easy fight with Butter. You can do pokes, you can do slashes, you can double pull. Well, you can't really double pull, because by the time they hit you, they are dead. Started out with a bit of that poke strat attempt, overstayed on the first poke, and immediately adjusted to go to slashes, which is usually a good idea at that point.
Yeah, well, John is closing on the big key chest.
Trenter inadvertently poking Argus a couple times instead of hitting him with a silver arrow, leading to, a little bit of inconvenience. He now gets to make advantage of that early Aganihm play to bring him to the Pyramid Fairy quicker. That weasel guy was on point. So at this point, Trenter has to go to Misery Mire and clear it out. He'll have to mirror over to grab the small key from the torch in Desert, followed by, of course, killing Landmolus, and then he'll be heading to T-Rock. So even if that Ice Rod is in TT Big Chest, John has a massive lead at this point, I would say.
I would agree. Although he also has a whole Aganihm tower to climb. And that looks like a hard container from Mimic Cave from John. And looking at, we caught a slight snapshot of menu beforehand. He does not have the Ice Rod before this big chest yet.
Yep, still looking. And yeah, that Aga Tower play does balance out the time a little bit. It's around 4.5 to 5 minutes, so that will impact, but that's probably about the time it'll take for Mire, not counting the Desert clear. Oh hey, he's got Mirror Shield. He got the shield nobody wants, because it lags more and barely helps you. And Trent are going to take care of Desert first. It is definitely the better option, because otherwise the mirroring to get here gets really messy and annoying.
So Chad is asking why Trent only opened one chest from the Pyramid Fairy. Well, because Steve Stam told us what both items in there was. The answer is useless. So he did not go open that after he claims the Smaria. Nice, a little optimization, I guess.
Ice Rod! Ice Rod on Laser Bridge, exactly where it always is.
Well, we got a friend that counts at least.
Legitimately probably the most important frame in this entire race, because that is go mode. John just has to leave T-Rock, walk over to GT, clear that out, and then do Aganim's Tower. I mean, that's simplification. You have to search for the big key and stuff, and there's a whole thing about it, but...
So John is doing his last dungeon boss fight right now. Right after that, we'll have Gans Tower, and we should be doing the Gans Tower big hit guessing game, but at least Frank Count, I don't think we will be able to catch which chest he got a big key, right?
Yeah, it seems like it would be kind of difficult to say for sure we can get it, so maybe we won't run the bot, but if you guys want to throw your guesses in chat, maybe you'll be able to figure out where it's at and get it right for some bragging rights. But that is his 7th crystal, an hour and 44 minutes in, and he is done with all 10 dungeons. Just GT, AT, and Ganon remain.
We have a guess that third one we see, that's a bold guess. We actually think we will see 3.
Oh. So Trent are heading into Misery Mire, gonna open this up. We don't know what's in here, but we know that it's nothing valuable. And after this, he will probably be heading up to T-Rock as well, and he'll be on the same smooth path to completion that John has just been following.
We can see John got 2 small keys on the right hand side. 1 small key on the right hand side. He's going to do a compass room first, as is tradition.
Yep, this became kind of the standard route, I think, at some point after people who used to do the old standard of going left first no matter what started to lose some time to people making this particular route. The map in that first chest in Meyer, we'll look and see where the big key over here is at as well. Get some bombs in the compass room.
And there's some more bombs on the chest diagonal to that. It looks like it's not on the right.
And there's the worst boomerang. Hopefully he leaves that exactly where it is and never considers picking it up. Trying to grabbing that small key. Gonna go open the main lobby chest here. It saves you a little bit of time walking over to the other side if necessary. And we find a big key. Not the one we're looking for on the left side, but we found a big key.
Okay, we actually see a chest opening animation for the toilet paper.
We're headed to vanilla big key chest here in Meyer. John having a little bit of trouble here with this hookshot trick, but pulls it off on the 3rd try. 3rd time's the charm.
I mean, of all the good execution he did, we actually see this blunder. That's pretty sad.
Hey, it's the cape. That's the thing that we haven't seen all seed, of course, but it would have been nice to have a couple times, I'm sure. A unique item requires a bomb. Thanks, buddy. That was probably the boots hint, which kind of makes me laugh, given that that was my joke at the start of this whole thing.
Yep. Looks like we're down to Ice Armors and Bob's chest.
And the ever lovely tile room. Nice little bonk over the teleport tile there. Doesn't have to go to the petting zoo. And we'll be heading up to visit our dear friend Bob. Let Bob kind of wreck him, but there is the big key. So that would have been what? 2, 6, 7, 11, 12, 13, 17, 18? I think 18?
Yeah, that's 18. He didn't open the Ice Armor 3 and the tile room, so 22 minus 4, that's 18 as well.
Now he's up here in the gauntlet with 18 hearts, which is absurd. Red mail, the mirror shield, the butter sword, silver arrows, 4 bottles. He has everything a person could want for this GT climb.
It looks like his internet has served its purpose, and we're back to the slideshow.
So in the meantime, we'll look over here at this silver arrows vitreous fight that Trenter has going on. It's always a fun fight to just machine gun these eyes down. Misses a couple of shots, and unfortunately just enough to get that first lightning phase. That's actually on a timer, so even if you miss, you can still get the kill before the lightning, but you still have a little bit of a tight window. We're moving through the gauntlet. He is into the more annoying rooms at this point. Conveyors, BMOs, spikes, eventually ice. Trenter making the correct play up to T-Rock will be rewarded with the ice rod on Laser Bridge. He's taking the very long route over here, though. Is he going to check Spike Cave first? I don't believe he checked that earlier.
Yeah, I don't think he checked that too.
Yep, Spike Cave it is. John threw Lamolus 2 onto the Wizrobe room number 1. One of the most satisfying rooms in the game, and it's gone.
Yeah, you can't. The placement of the Wizrobes are just right for King of Samaria, plus a sword stash for the 4 Wizrobe rooms. It just feels great to execute that right.
I will forever feel like the developers made those rooms intentionally planning for people to use Samaria there.
Trento setting up a spin speed on the ladder, lost it somewhere.
Yep, so just deciding to dash out. Couple of bonks, but gets out of there well enough. And now we'll head across to T-Rock from here. Meanwhile, John dealing with Moldorm 2 gets him down and will be headed across to go fight Aganihm 2. Trenner heading up Super Bunny Cave to get to T-Rock. Not going to take the route through Paradox, going to go this way instead. It's a little bit slower if you get good Deadrock luck on the Light World, but it's also, reliable. You don't have to worry about Deadrock luck this way.
Yep, it's up to personal preference, I guess, because dead rocks are actually plentiful. He picked up this full magic. There's one into right as well. I would pick that one up instead.
Yeah, I think that was a momentary lapse in thinking ahead. Obviously doesn't need magic until he's in Turtle Rock, so there was really zero reason to go out of his way for that. I've got to assume, though, that by this point, you're an hour and 54 minutes in. Again, someone as good at this game as JohnRossums. You have full cleared every dungeon so far. You're still an ice rod away from go mode. You don't feel great at this point.
And looks like John made a mistake here. He forgot Agnus Tower. He drops right into Ganon fight.
Yep, he's given a little bit of time back to Trenter, but it's not going to be enough on its own. He's going to need a little bit more catastrophe for it to be enough. When he gets to phase 4, Ganon's going to call him a dingus and throw him out, and he'll realize what he has to do, hopefully. It is kind of entertaining to think that the person who made the choice to go for this mode kind of forgot about Agate's Tower being required. Usually when you see that it's someone who is unfamiliar with the mode, I would expect he is familiar with all dungeons. It does appear, however, like he is a little bit confused right now. Trying to figure out why Ganon won't die. He skipped the text box Ganon gives too quick, I'm sure, to have actually recognized that he was being called a dingus and being told to accomplish his goal. Now he has fallen, he is walking out. Will he remember Tamir when he gets up to the top here? Definitely bonked to get that fairy there, which is not a good sign for his remembrance to go to Aga Tower, since you get a full health refill after that regardless, but he got the mirror out, he's going.
Yep, he slashed the barrier and he's into the Aganim's Tower. Complete his finally objective before beating Ganon.
Yep, and much as it was for Trenter a while ago, this is going to be a cakewalk. Even easier for him, because he actually has the lamp. He doesn't have to do it in the dark. It's going to be much smoother. That small key from the dark maze, heading around. Aga's Tower, the downside of all dungeons when Aga isn't required, is this is really just delaying the inevitable. Like, you're not gonna have trouble with this at the point where you're about to kill Ganon. But you still gotta sit here and work your way through a 5-minute tower climb for the sake of fighting Ganon, right?
Right.
Here's a stop in Mimic Cave.
While John has already got past the dark part of Aganim's Tower, likely much faster than Trinity due to the help of the lamp.
Yeah, but I'd estimate, assuming a relatively smooth Ganon fight, which is easy enough with butter, he'll probably be finishing Ganon a little bit after Trenter gets into GT. He'll probably be, if he goes right first, he'll be on his way to the room on the, or he'll be at the room on the right at that point, because, you know, 7 or 5 blue ball Aganihm is going to take a little while.
You know, I commentated Trenter's race a few nights ago. He actually went full left. He never go to right on that Ganon's Tower, which is pretty interesting.
And that is a pretty rare thing to see around the community these days. It'll pay off for him a little bit here. Going through the room that nobody knows how to actually navigate based on, you know, the design of the room. They just have the muscle memory to make it happen. That Ice Rod! Yay! Ice Rod! Go mode for Trenter at 1:59:10-ish.
And the small key he needs to be try next, the next chat is off he goes.
Yep, and John still dealing with our dear friend Aganihm. It's a lot of blue balls. It's a very slow, very bland fight for him at this point. And here we have a far more interesting boss fight in Trinex, and half of him is gone.
Missing a couple barrel shots, but getting in time before he covered the floor in ice, lagging the game and making it harder.
Yep, and John is dropping back into Ganon now. Why is everyone so eager about encouraging thinking outside of the box? I've seen no evidence of thinking inside it. That's not the exact quote, but that's what it says. I played this game a few too many times.
And with Bottle Sword, it's 6 slashes per phase 1 and 2, so it's pretty smooth sailing. He's already into a teleporting phase 3.
Yep, and with Silver Arrows, phase 4 will go nice and quick as well. The second visit to Ganon, and this time Ganon will actually take damage in phase 4, which will probably make him pretty happy. And there it is, the Ganon kill for JohnRossums. GG.
And I will assume he has crossed the gate right now, so his official SR time is 2 hours, 1 minute, and 8 seconds.
Yep, the seed was not very friendly. If he hadn't dropped into Ganon that first time, I think he would have pulled out the sub 2. Obviously, that ate up a bit of time for him. We will see if he is interested or able to come in for an interview here.
He's in chat right now. Let's see if I can ask him there.
Hello, John, in chat. Hopefully, well, GG. Hopefully you enjoyed that seed, whatever you want to call that seed. I've been there before, John. We've been poking fun at it, but honestly, it was giving us enough information on what you were doing and what you were getting that it actually made it pretty solid to follow along with that race. It worked out pretty well, actually, for the situation.
Yeah, we got enough keyframes, like the one you actually get the flippers, and the one you get the ice rod, and some deduction base like the hook shot and the lamp. The chat colos one, we just had enough information to work with, so that's fine though.
Got John marked as done, so you should be receiving the invite to the Speed Gaming Discord here shortly. So in the meantime, Trenter is heading through GT. As you expected, he did not go right. He is going pretty much full left, and we'll be getting the big key in his next chest he opens.
And we see John in the setup room now, play him right now.
Hello, John. GG.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for the GGs.
So, how do you like that seed?
Oh, dude, that seed was like crazy. The first thing that I noticed was that lamp logic on Argus. Oh, that it's I don't know what to say.
Yeah, the hoops to jump through to actually follow the logic on lamp were real dumb.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm sorry everyone for the shitty internet. It's a thing that happens only on races. So I'm sorry. I wish that you could enjoy the race better.
Yeah, like I said earlier, it was enough information coming in to keep us up to date on where you were, on how things were comparing. Like I said, we
Yeah.
poked fun at it, but it worked well enough to keep us aware of how the race was going.
Oh, I'm glad, at least for that.
Yeah, John, you chose the mode of this race. Do you think what kind of advantage you would have on this game mode? What made you choose this mode?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
So this is the first race between you two. You are the highest seed. You chose this scenario to race against Tender. What advantage do you think you will have coming to this race choosing this mode?
Actually, I did not feel like confident at all because I won my first match, and then I lost both one inverted and one open. So I was really like nervous because I didn't know what to expect because I thought I was good for inverted and I lost, and then I thought I was good for open and I lost again. So I was like really nervous trying to get everything. I wishing that the things that I skipped, like deep down big chest and left side swamp, like just hoping that things don't have any progression at all.
I know that feel quite well.
Mm-hmm.
So, can you guess what was kind of? I know you guys were talking. I don't know if you picked up on it. Did you? Could you guess what was one of the early major difference makers in this seed?
For what I was talking with Trenter on the race channel, he did Aga 1 without the lamp. So, that's like really crazy. You need to be really brave to do Aganihm 1 Aga Tower without the lamp.
Yeah, it's not a fun one. Early in the seed, you went to the Dark World and immediately went into Skull Woods and got that pure vanilla fire rod. Trenter took a while to get there. He ended up making about 2 extra trips up Death Mountain for it. He got his boots very late. Missing that fire rod really started to pile on time loss for him over time.
Oh, that's right. I completely forgot about that. It was like it was first I opened a key, then I went left side to grab the big key for Skullwoods, and then I got the fire rod and I went straight up to Mothula. And I recall that I checked pedestal right after Mothula.
Yeah, that was actually the moment that the frame started dropping.
Oh.
So, right as you were checking pad, it just like, oh, chat's gonna be upset.
Oh, I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry.
Well, at least we got a pet check on the Tender side. We know that those are couch cash, so nothing big on pet.
Oh, at least it's all dungeon, so we're it's the it's the only mode that you need to do all dependents and no pet.
Yeah, pretty much. Also, I want to give a little bit of a shout out to this 185 out of 216 collection right there. That's stupid high.
Oh, dude. It was checking almost everything. I mean, some items drop that I did not grab. Left side swamp, the rest of GT's chest. I mean, yeah.
And then one thing I have to ask, when you dropped into Ganon the first time, you pushed A on his text box too quick to see him call you out, didn't you?
That was, at my point, just muscle memory, finishing Aga 2, getting down to Ganon's pit, and then just not reading. Just going like straight forward.
If it's the lovely part of all dungeons when you get into Ganon, you're like, why won't you die?
Yeah. I mean, with the first text box, I just passed by, but then the second one, it was like, why it's telling me this, and not the silver arrows, and then I start to slash, and I was, did I forget a dungeon? And I was checking my inventory for crystals and pendants, and I was good. Then I just like, well, I'm gonna try to spin attack. Then I'm trying to, like, I don't know, anything. And then I recall I had to do Aganim's tower.
We do have Trenter on his Ganon fight at the moment. He just got into phase 3. First segment of floor falling, getting ready for finishing this off. So he'll finish about 2:12:30 to 2:13:30, depending on how phase 4 goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing that I like about the seed was the hints. There was some hints that were like pretty good. I mean, when I went to desert and I checked the bow hint, then I found the lamp. I mean the flute. So I already know that boots unlocked the bow. So as soon as I had the boots on that mountain, if I recall correctly, I went straight to desert to get the bow, and then could combo Eastern with Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, that king is super helpful. Trender actually got into desert before he got a fire rod, so he just take the key and take the bow and ran and come back later to finish Mire and desert in one go. And he has done. His official SR time is 2 hours, 12 minutes and 40 seconds. Put the GG in chat and let's see if we can get him in for a talk as well.
And here he is, our second place finisher, Trender TR GG. How you doing?
GG. I felt like I'm doing 100% today. Like, oh.
So I'm not sure if you've been listening a bit, but missing that fire rod was pretty much the point that kind of started giving John a lead on you.
Yeah, that's like, I really hate to dip Skull Woods when it's a crystal, especially in all dungeons, because I'm like, yeah, okay, the chance that there's a fire rod is very slim. And it's even more slim if you consider it was vanilla, but yeah, it obviously happened again.
Pretty much. So here's a question I wanted to wait till both of you were in here for. When it started to get narrowed down at the end, you know, when you're getting to those last few locations when you're pretty much down to just T-Rock, how much was Thieves Town big chest in the back of your head, just eating at you.
Very long, very long. Like the moment I went out of Thieves Town, it always was lingering in my back. I was like, okay, there must be the like when I got all the things. I was like, okay, probably the lamp is in there. So I'm considering this route now. Do the fetch quest up and do Aga 1 in the dark real quick, which I did for the first time today. Like, okay. And yeah, then I get it on Argus, and I'm like, what the heck is that for a logic?
Yeah, in my end, I went to Tips Town early and checked that it was an item on the big chest. So I was really hoping that was like nothing. And then when Ice Rod was not appearing and we're not getting it, I started to thinking on the way to T-Rock, oh, this has to be Tips Town big chest, or on my side I skipped left side swamp, so that those places were the last places that I wanted to check, and I gambled the Turtle Rock for Ice Rod, and luckily it was on Laser Bridge.
Yeah, it's a pretty high percentage play because you miss one item in Swan left side, one item in Thieves Town. You have what, 3 items plus 5 plus Myth Cave. That's 2 out of 11 that it's not on the mountain. So it's a pretty fair play, and it paid off as it should.
As we kind of wind down here, any final thoughts on the seed, on this race, on anything like that for either of you?
Yeah, like I really like that desert palace. I'm like flute and then out of logic the bow, where it's actually locked on the right side, and the hint is actually telling you the bow is in here. Like I found that very appealing, and I really like that desert palace. That's one very rare case.
Yeah, that was a fantastic desert.
Yeah, and for me, the seed was like pretty tough, but like I have this thought that I was like sharing with you at the beginning, that like every mode could like troll you hard, or you could get like really lucky. So I mean, this tourney is almost for everyone. Everyone has a shot to advance. So just like I'm trying to give my best and enjoy the seats, enjoy the tourney, and trying to improve with my randomizer skills.
Sounds like pretty much the best way to handle it.
And so let's wrap it up here. And right now, happening on Speed Gaming 2, we have an inverted Uncle Shirtsy happening. So you might want to watch that. And don't forget to follow the runners and the JohnRossums and Tendra TR before you go, and all the Speed Gaming Network, that's Speed Gaming to Speed Gaming 6, and also thanks for my fellow commentator Mentos Man and our tracker, that is
Austin Stone on tracking today. He did quite a good job. I know it was a tough work for him today, a little bit, and he did fantastically.
Yeah, Tracker, you're the MVP for this seed. I'm so sorry.
And just a little bit of some scheduling stuff for the remainder of the day for those interested. In about an hour on this channel, if you're interested in something that's not a Link to the Past, they're going to have a round of the Donkey Kong Country All Stages tournament. they've got some various other tournaments spread throughout the schedule in terms of there's a Cuphead race, a Portal race, there is some Paper Mario 1,000 Year Door entrance or loading zone randomizer race later on tonight. In terms of the Link to the Past tournament, there is the race that Blastig mentioned, as well as at 2:30 another race on Speed Gaming 5, Assazaz versus BBB Kermit, which is standard randomized swords hard mode. We have another one on Speed Gaming 1, the original, later tonight. All dungeons standard, swordless, hard, none for variation, with Data World versus Sea Falcon. That's at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. 6 Eastern, we got Speed Gaming 2, Banta versus GFE 12, all dungeons inverted with randomized swords on hard. And at 7:30, we have another race on Speed Gaming 1, all dungeons, standard, Uncle Assured, normal. So just like this one, that'll be Bwayne versus DKS 89.
And after that, we still have a bunch of races. I believe the later broadcast will talk about it. And I think that's it for us for now. And I've been Plastic.
And I've been Mentos Man 8.
And see you next race. Bye bye.